All right, so I'm going to introduce Tamra now. So Tamra Blankenship has been working in the emotional wellness field and with communication. Her thing is all about communication. That's who she is. For over like 20 years, I think it is, right? 20 years. And I met her about 3 years ago as well. Everybody I met about 3 years ago, I think. 2015 was a life-changing year. So Tamra has been taught thousands of people with her communication courses and her emotional wellness courses. And she has online, in person. She's worked with a lot of really great leaders out there, and she speaks and has a book as well. So there's a lot of things that Tamra does, but what she's really passionate about right now is doing her YouTube and sharing that message with you guys. So go follow her on Tamra Blankenship at Soulfire Ignited. All right, so without further ado, my lovely Tamra Blankenship.
Hello, everyone. Wow, this is really high. I think I'm coming down. You know what? I'm going to ask everyone a favor. We've been here all morning. Would everyone mind, like, rearranging a little bit and getting a little closer? Yeah, we can stand up. I really love that. Just get a little more intimate. Oh, we got some rebellious folks. I'm coming down to join you guys. Have you guys just enjoyed everyone immensely? I mean, it's some powerful, inspirational, like, understanding of triumphant struggles and coming through and persevering. I better stay away from them. So my journey has been no different than most of everyone else's. We all have a story to share. And mine started when I was very young. I actually was sexually assaulted at the age of 5. And in my experience, I identified with that as being broken and something really wrong with me. I don't know if anybody else has experienced sexual assault or anything like that. It can be a pretty intense experience, and there are a lot of times we will start to identify with those things as our issues, that we did something that we're not likable or lovable because of. I think it's really important to understand that when we start to have these struggles, we start to recognize what's the gift. A lot of us think that, I'm a victim of this, or I believe that something's wrong with me, but you really get this really cool opportunity to sit back and see it from a different perspective. So as I experienced this at the age of 5, not having any coping skills or anybody knowing about it, I decided to start to control my experience by controlling my eating. At the age of 5, most of us think of it as picky eater, just a child that's just, wants to only eat sweets all the time. But that's the way I chose to control what I couldn't control, is just using my own wisdom and my ability to, at that time, trying to understand why I felt so unsafe. And so that's what I used. And then later on, I started going to school and recognized how different I really was, and started this really intense experience with education, and I ended up having a learning disability. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of dyslexia. It really gives you some really fun challenges in structure and trying to identify with the way everyone else thinks, and you feel even more different. So I had this compilation of issues. I had this sexual assault, and then I had this eating issue that I tried to fit in with, and I started to struggle with education and trying to fit in. My parents did the best they could, being a supporting, loving family, to help me navigate this. Unfortunately, I had been born to make decisions about myself, and that really started to fester and grow. And over time, I made up a story that I was ugly, I was unlovable, and just stupid. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that belief that you don't fit in, you don't belong. And it can be very lonely, wouldn't you say? It can be very intense. And so because I was a people pleaser, that was the other issue that I definitely struggled with. I wanted to be loved, I wanted to persevere through this experience. I continued to push myself into making friends and getting rejected by fellow women or men friends. It didn't really matter. I was constantly seeking validation outside of myself. And then one day it hit me. I realized connection starts with me. At a very early age, I recognized that I was here to do something. You know, I think we all believe we have superpowers, right? We all think we have something unique and something special to offer, which we do, no doubt. But finding it can be so difficult, and that struggle to connect to that. And these beautiful women, and they've come up here to share the stage with me, talk about finding that connection through traumatic experiences. Now, that traumatic experience was the rocket fuel, right? That got them to a new understanding of their life experiences. Now, it doesn't always have to be, at least in my practice when I've worked with other people, does it have to be something so traumatic or devastating. It could be as simple as losing a job, or just, you know, having dreams that you thought you would fulfill by an like a set date or an age, and all of a sudden your dreams and your goals are just not living up to what you thought they would be. And sometimes that can really spin you into a belief that you're just not enough. So part of my journey was realizing that following this belief that I had to be something got me stuck and stuck in a pattern or a trend of just constantly trying to be something or do something to make other people happy and never finding joy within my heart. So that's where it started to really derail for me. I was like, no matter what I did, no matter how many things I did, I was a yes girl. I did everything, multitasker, 3 kids, you know, volunteered at everything, and just kind of was an overdoer. And then I tapped out. I found out that my now ex-husband, back then was having an affair, and I lost my business, because we had a business together. I lost that with him, and my children's home, everything was just in complete disarray. So I had to really pick myself up and start over. And in that belief that this is the way it was supposed to look, that picture perfect idea of a family and kids and all that was starting to collapse again. Now, it's not like any different than any other story that you've heard up here about struggle and triumphant experiences and shifting yourself into something more dynamic. But the difference was that I decided that the only way to find my voice was to let go of this belief that I had to be something I wasn't. So my pattern came from recognizing what I was saying and how I was actually participating in the experience was inevitably what was being mirrored back at me. And that was my opportunity. That was the gift I could recognize was going to be something totally different. Instead of saying it's okay, I can accept it, and just moving on, I looked for the gifts within all the struggles I was having. Now, going back to the sexual assault, I started to recognize I wasn't a victim of sexual assault. I had an opportunity to experience something dramatically, deeply painful that could catapult me into a deeper understanding of people who experience similar pain and trauma. So it became a gift for my practice. Then, this eating disorder that I've been hiding for a very long time became an understanding that how I would withhold my own voice in order to be molded into what was acceptable, right? Just trying to be a part of something. So then I was able to actually use food to heal me by making better choices. And not all eating disorders are the same, I'm not saying that. But mine personally was all about withholding joy from myself through food. And so I could find new ways to assimilate and create and connect with other elements of my life. Because we all know when we show up in one place, it shows up everywhere in our lives, right? Because we have that ripple effect. And so as we continue to keep on, unraveling some of my life story, I started to recognize that these were opportunities for me to share and learn to help other people cultivate that. So I started my Tibetan studies and going into more of how the brain works and neuroscience and all that great crazy stuff, and really started to recognize that there's some of this is actually natural. The anxiety we feel and this intensity is really a natural experience, but we make up that it's wrong, creating this really intense block from us getting a chance to really connect to each other. And I was actually speaking with one of these lovely ladies here earlier about how we block this, and she asked me simply, why do we do that? It's really actually just natural. We are in survival mode. Being vulnerable is not natural. We're fearful of vulnerability because we don't want to get eaten by the lion, right? We want to survive and persevere beyond to live another day. But that belief that this thing or whatever we're anxious about is going to take us over, runs the show. And then our happy little amygdala goes into fight, flight, or freeze mode, and we just run for the hills, right? So there's a lot of understanding that comes from when you really sit there and accept the fact that this is not wrong to be in these experiences or to have this intense energy, but to embrace it and surrender to it and accept it and use it as rocket fuel. Using your fear as a powerful tool or a motivator to cultivate the life you want by feeling it, not by thinking it. And really understanding how you communicate that really does mold how your life unravels for you. And so these opportunities, as I like to think of them, as little golden nuggets, little treasures along the way, these stories that you experience bring you more of you. They're not you, the story is just an experience, but the possibility of connecting to you, to finding out who your what your real beliefs are, who your ethics are, and what really makes up your journey is based on that engagement. So when you get upset with somebody or you're having an experience that's not truly in alignment with what you think you want, maybe it's an opportunity to step back and go, wait a minute, I guess I was attached to that coming out a little differently, and maybe there's something here for you to shift. And just really celebrate this little opportunity that if you could just pull yourself back a little bit and really recognize that surrender isn't always letting go and quitting, but actually embracing what shows up and looking at it from a different angle. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you all. Thank you for moving for me.